Hey everybody, Matt here, and today we're talking about a brand new Pivot mountain bike. If you've been into mountain biking for a while, you're probably familiar with Pivot, but for those of you that aren't, Pivot is one of the premium mountain bike brands and have been around for quite a while. The company was founded by Chris Kokalis, who's a legend in the mountain bike world. You could even say that Chris is on the Mount Rushmore of the modern mountain bike. His personal history, his engineering background have been instrumental in how mountain bikes have developed and progressed through the full suspension era and into carbon fiber, and today they make some of the finest bikes you can ride. So in my opinion, there are three areas in which Pivot really stands out and is the essence of who they are. And the first is that they are entirely an engineering-driven company. Chris is the ultimate bike nerd and is heavily involved with every project. They don't do wacky, weird stuff for the sake of it. It's a very specific process to try to get an end result. The second area where Pivot stands out to me is the pedalability of their bikes. I don't even know, is that a word? But when you're riding a Pivot bike, it feels like you're riding a bike that has less travel, like one whole category. So that gives that real supportive, forward, acceleration, lively feel. And the last area is they are fanatics about suspension tuning. The thing that keeps Chris up at night, that makes hairs stand up on his neck, is the idea that somebody is out there riding a Pivot and the suspension is not tuned properly. And all that work and design and creativity goes out the window because the bike rides like crap. So we had to fly down to Arizona, have a meeting. They sent staff up here to train our team so we could execute the bike to the level up to their expectations. So let's get into why we're here. We are here to talk about the new Pivot Switchblade. Now the Switchblade in the Pivot lineup is their do everything, go everywhere, versatile trail bike. It's got 160 mil of travel in the front, 142 in the back, DW link. It's your all around amazing trail bike. Now this bike is not a revolution or a drastic departure from where it has been in the past. Like all amazingly engineered products that are our favorites out there, they don't need to be fixed. They just continually get iterated and improved as the developers and the engineers learn more. So specifically on this bike, the changes and the improvements are in the geometry and the suspension kinematics. So let's talk about the suspension of this bike. The new Switchblade uses the DW Link suspension that's on all of the Pivot bikes. DW Link is a patented design from Dave Weigel that Pivot has used since the beginning. And what DW Link is trying to do is find that optimal balance between pedalability, pedaling efficiency, and square edge bump compliance to get that wheel out of the way so you can head down the trail faster. And in my experience riding the Pivots, I definitely feel that pedalability, but they're not the most supple, the most plush bikes. When you're kind of going through successive bumps or a chattery section, you feel a little bit more of the impact through the feet. When you have a big impact, you have all of the travel you need, but it's that small bump, chattery feeling where I feel like you get a little bit more harshness. And that's where this bike really shines. That lower link, they elongated it, so you get a little bit more rearward axle path so that wheel gets out of the way faster and allows you to maintain speed, and you feel that supple, plush, pillowy feeling when you're going down kind of successive chunks. So like I said at the beginning, refined, not redesigned. So the other area where this bike has evolved is in the geometry. Now Pivot's always been on the more conservative side of geometry. Their bikes have typically been a little bit steeper than the modern trail bike. So I was happy to see this bike's head angle come down to a 65.2 in the low setting. The reach has gotten longer. It's 465 in a medium. And then that seat tube has gotten just a little bit steeper. So on trail, that slacker head angle gives me a little bit more confidence on the steeper trails that I ride, and it helps bring it more in line with its competitors and the modern trail bikes of today. So that's what makes this bike different from the previous generation, but there's a whole host of other cool things about the bike that I want to talk about. The first is its adjustability. There is a flip chip in there, so you can go from a high to a low, change the head angle by a half a degree, and also raise and lower the BB. You can run both an MX or 29 wheels. It only comes stock with 29, but it's easy to flip to an MX, and even in a 27.5 wheel configuration, you can run up to a 2.8-inch tire. The vertical shock position allows a smaller triangle so you can fit a water bottle and get really low standover, so they're able to make this bike in an extra small for riders all the way down to 4'11", and then they make this bike all the way up into an extra large for riders up to 6'5". And across all of those sizes, each one is engineered individually, so the riding characteristics are the same. So the short riders don't get a super stiff bike, and the really tall riders don't get an overly flexy bike. Every rider gets the exact ride that Pivot's wanting you to have. So lastly, You might be thinking, where do I put my burrito? What is noticeably absent from this bike is in-frame storage. And what Pivot says is the compromises that they have to make to put a huge hole in the frame and then reinforce it so it doesn't weaken itself is too much and takes too much away from the ride. But what they have done is worked with Topi to develop a tool storage system. There's a couple of bolts underneath the top tube and you can mount a whole series of tools up there so you can still carry it on your bike, you just can't carry it inside your frame. So you're just gonna have to eat the burrito. So who's this bike for? This bike is for the rider that doesn't know who's gonna call and doesn't know where they're gonna be invited to go ride and wants to make sure they have a bike that can take them on the most technical trails that they can handle themselves, or can go do long epic days in the saddle, go deep into the backcountry. Wherever your adventures take you, this bike is appropriate. So that's the new Pivot Switchblade. If you like the video or you like our videos in general, please, it would mean a lot to me. Press like, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for hanging out. See you in the next one. Should I pivot in my chair? You think they would get that? In that one there? Enhanced, not overhauled. Polished, not reimagined. Perfected, not reconstructed. You might be thinking, where do I put my burrito or my weed?